We're here today in Eccles and with a friend of mine, Stephen Lomas. Um, Familiar face around Eccles. I've known him about 12 months. He's a really nice chap. But we're here today to talk about, he had a really bad car crash in 2004, which left him with crippling brain injuries, from which I'm happy to say he's made a good and full recovery. But he'd like to talk about the accident, the incident, and his progress through. And he's making quite a success of his life, I'm glad to say. Stephen, the accident, tell all.
Right, well, the accident that happened when my life was completely different to what it is now, obviously. I was in pretty well paid management for Asda. I'd been working for Asda since 95, so by this time I'd got up to management. I had a rare Saturday off, which you don't often get working for Asda. And just coming back out of Manchester, I'd just been in there shopping, going through Ancoats, my car turns a corner, just must have caught on some oil or some ice or something to cause it to spin, and the driver's side of the car just walloped into a tree. So this arm got broke clean in half. I've got two titanium plates in there. I was left with total hearing loss in the left side, complete loss of sense of smell, which the medical term is actually anosmia, and a bleed on the brain at the scene, and an epileptic fit at the scene. The fire service cut the roof off the car, got me out of it, went to North Manchester Hospital, assessed. Hope Hospital, as it was known then, Salford Royal, the brain injury experts, because they looked after Sir Alex Ferguson. I went to there, and I was put in a sedated coma because of the pressure build up on my
6 weeks,
brain.
wasn't it, the coma?
Yeah, so I'm told.
Who was the specialist treating you? Can you remember?
I couldn't tell you.
No.
I couldn't tell you.
So,
I know my parents got told I wasn't going to make it,
no.
and my mother took the appearance of a mother and kind of turned into a grandmother overnight. She kind of went grey overnight, and she died 4 years after that. But maybe I'll always apportion a little blame into my accident, but that's by the by.
So how do you get on the road to recovery?
Well, it's very hard when you come round and you're so tired. I couldn't go back to management, so I had to leave Asda. You spend an awful lot of time tired, so I was recovering by resting an awful lot. I had a psychologist called Suzanne Guest who has helped me loads, because one you see, this is the thing, Tony. Like you said earlier, we've known each other a year, and I know a lot of faces in Eccles, but to look at me, I don't look disabled.
No.
But sometimes this mouth can operate before the brain kicks into gear, and that's hand in hand.
There's a lot of people in Eccles like that.
Yes, and they don't. So I assume they don't have frontal lobe brain damage as I do. So sometimes you can say things without thinking. You can be aggressive verbally to people, and I had a psychologist, Suzanne, who could help me with that, and coping strategies in terms of being able to deal with it, and trying your best to think at all times when you're out and about, because as soon as your mind starts to wander,
Of course.
And the position I was in back then, 2005, 2006, I was on benefits. I was on disability living allowance and incapacity benefit, which I know more, but it was much more than what job seekers are earning. So I could have quite happily lived on that, but it's not in me to do that.
Right.
I'm so ambitious and forward thinking, I've got to do something. Suzanne, my psychologist, introduced me to the National Brain Injury charity called Headway, and they have drop-in centres around the country, and I got taken by Suzanne to the drop-in at the Stockport and South Manchester branch, I believe it's termed. They've moved since where they were at in the centre of Stockport when I used to visit, and it's just once a week for a couple of hours, and it was just what I needed, because it's so easy with the brain injuries to sit at home. It's so easy with any long-term illness to sit at home and wallow in your own self-pity and how miserable you are. And Headway will pull you out of that, and go into Headway. For me to see other people with acquired brain injuries as well as myself, it was eye-opening, and it made me feel very grateful that I was perhaps lucky, because yes, I can't smell anything anymore. Yes, I've lost hearing in this side. Yes, I might say things out of turn and offend people when I open my mouth, but physically I'm capable.
Yeah.
But there are people I met at Headway who can't even walk. are in a wheelchair for the rest of their lives, and they've got acquired brain injuries, and as a consequence, they can't walk. So I feel lucky. So I was never going to waste my life after, even though I've got a brain injury. I'm a creative person, and I do believe Stephen Lomas, before the accident, before the head injury, was knee deep in capitalism. Because you're working for a supermarket, you're in management, you're well paid. That's it, innit? That's capitalism. But I honestly feel this accident has unlocked the creative side.
That was in
of
there
me.
already.
Pardon?
It must have been in there already, wasn't it, though?
Yeah, but I think it's made it emerge somehow.
Tell us about this. You went on a further education courses, didn't you?
Yeah, well, through the job centre, disability employment advisor, they asked me what I loved, and I said I love music and I play the guitar. So they said, have you thought about doing any courses in music? And I said no. And by 2010 September, I started and I enrolled on a 2-year level 3 music technology course at the Manchester College, and I smashed that with distinction. And then because I'd smashed that, I was able to do a foundation degree in music production, and I smashed that with distinction and did well. And then after that foundation degree qualification allowed me to do a 1-year top-up degree at Salford University, Media City campus, where all the broadcasting's done anyway, with ITV and BBC. And there's a couple of great lecturers there, John Silverside and Leslie Blaker, who's a fantastic woman, because it's strange how I remember this, Tony, but a story came to me out of the ether in 2014, and I even know where I was. I was walking across Media City to the university campus, and this story comes to me out of the ether about this lad growing up next door to Morrissey on King's Road. He has a best mate, he has a childhood sweetheart, they love Joy Division, they go on to love the Smiths, happily ever after. It's a little more complicated than that, the story, because I've been writing it since 2014 for the last 8 years. And Leslie, my lecturer, who herself, she's got a master's in creative writing. She says, if you get a first in your broadcasting degree, you could do a master's at Salford and get 25% off your course fee. So I did that. And my dissertation for my master's in creative writing was the first 10,000 words of my novel, which I've called Decades after the Joy Division song. And as well as that, whilst I was studying in my masters, in the lectures, we'd do sections on poetry, and as soon as we did a lecture on poetry, I was itching to mention John Cooper Clarke, because the first time I heard him, I can't remember how old I was, I can't remember what year it was, I can't remember what poem I heard, but I thought, those words are incredible, and to say them in such a thick regional dialect was so incredible. And when I researched the man and found out about what he did at the punk gigs, I thought, this guy's the coolest guy on the planet, and I still think that.
Yeah.
And I wrote some poems as a consequence of that lecture, and because I'm such a huge fan of John Cooper Clarke, and I've written a couple of poems.
What we're going to do, we're going to listen to one of your poems. You're going to recite one for us.
Okay.
And then I want to talk to you about with Jojo. See about out and about. That's your wife now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that and how she's helped you through your what we'd call a disability, should we say? Would it be fair to call it?
Invaluable help.
Invaluable
I wouldn't
help.
be here if it wasn't for Joe.
I don't know. I've seen you're a devoted couple. Give us a poem. Let's lighten the thing.
Right. Well, this one's called "Smartphone, Stupid Idiot."
Smartphone. I like it.
Something quite absurd has occurred. Technology inferred we've become more intelligent, but in society these days, intelligence seems irrelevant. And they all look dead aggressive, so I won't be fucking telling them. Smartphone, stupid idiot. All too often in the real world, I crave a button marked delete. They could probably train a chimp to click like or to retweet. If your parents had to pay for your education, let's hope they've kept the receipt. Smartphone, stupid idiot. They'll never start a conversation, they much prefer a stare. They're dense, but there's no recompense. We're all born with the same hardware. Smartphone, stupid idiot. Read a book or learn something. Make the world a better place, instead of staring into your mobile phone and getting off your face. Smartphone, stupid idiot. Thank you.
We'll do that in a few minutes. Now, as I say, I've seen you many times around Eccles with Jojo.
Yeah.
Would you say she's helped save your life? For you?
Absolutely.
Tell us about your relationship with Jo and how you met.
on the weekend of the 1st of November 2011, I'd been on Plenty of Fish and I'd sent messages to women and I never get messages back. Joe's since told me it's because you send them essays. And
Yeah.
I could never go on a dating website and go,
Yeah.
I like the look of you, get your knickers off or whatever. I don't know how these people communicate for legovers and things. I couldn't do that. I've got to be in something with somebody to want to get involved in all that business. And Jo was one of the rare people. In fact, she was the only person who messaged me back, and her message back was funny, and we got on through typing initially. Then a couple of telephone calls that lasted a couple of hours each.
Yeah.
Then I went to, on the weekend of the 1st of November, I went to stay at a flat in Bredbury. Arrived at Friday tea time and left Sunday tea time.
That's nice.
So it went well.
Yeah, obviously.
And
And you married her?
we got... Yeah, I think because the 1st of November 2011, that's all ones because of November. And I thought that's first, i.e. beginning of something. So when it became to the weekend of the 1st of November 2012, I asked the father for permission to marry her because I'm a traditionalist. So we got engaged, and then on the 1st of November 2013, we got married.
Did you plan it on that day?
We did, but at one point I wished I hadn't. Because not long after I met Jo, she started getting very, very tired. She got referred on to Dr. Greer, who's a wonderful consultant at Manchester Royal Infirmary. And he diagnosed fatty liver disease, which went on to chronic liver disease, which meant she was dying. And I can't remember the tangent I've broken off to talk about.
Did Jo have a liver transplant?
Yes. Yeah, on the 11th of October 2016, but she was very ill. I never understood liver disease until you're living with somebody who's got it, and because the liver filters out toxins out of your blood. Now, if your liver's kaput and it can't filter toxins are in your bloodstream, blood goes around your body, it goes into your brain, the toxins go to your brain. And in all honesty, Tony, living with somebody with chronic liver disease is like living with a pensioner with Alzheimer's. They're that confused. So
are you a carer as well as
Yeah.
husband?
Yeah.
So you've both been like rocks for each other, haven't you, really?
We're a perfect symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
We need each other. As Noel Gallagher used to sing out loud, quite loudly.
No, Gallagher will leave him out of it.
Oh, don't. I
No.
love Oasis.
Yeah,
They're like my brothers I never had. I've spent since 1994
I'm glad they're the
trying
brothers
to
I
talk
never had.
like him, walk like him, and sing like him, Liam Gallagher.
Well, I'm
But
glad he's not my brother, put it that way. But, yeah.
I can't help it.
I know, it's
I think it's because I
understandable.
come from Ashton Underline, and the
What
big
was it? It
city
says,
was too
Carl, isn't it? What Brian Gorman says. Ashton Underline. That's how he pronounces it.
Well, the big city seemed too distant and scary, and then to find out all this music that came from there, like Joy Division, Magazine, The Smiths.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And do you
Happy
still
Mondays.
play yourself guitar?
Not as much as I used to, because all my focus is writing things down now, writing.
Yeah.
Every spare. Obviously, I'm a married man. I've got to spend time with Jo and take the dog for a walk and such like, and socialise in Eccles with people. But spare time is writing.
Where's Jo today?
She's gone to Sheffield with a friend on a coach with her best friend Wendy, because she's gone to meet a lady called Yaibo who lives in Sheffield, who has also had a liver transplant.
Right.
Because there's this little community on Facebook, and all these people tied together because of St James's Hospital in Leeds, which is the centre for the north where they do transplants. Because you've got somewhere in London, somewhere in Birmingham, somewhere in the north, St James's in Leeds, and they do all the liver transplants. So you get a community of people there, because a liver transplant isn't like getting a new carburettor in your car. You're not going to work back to normal just because you've got a new liver in.
Right.
But there's follow-ups, there's appointments, so there's quite a community of people on Facebook who know each other through that hospital.
The poetry angle, I've seen YouTube clips of it. I've seen you interviewing Dave Gorman, Kevin Cummins, all the other Manchester luminaries. Dave Haslam, sorry. It's great. And I also saw a clip of you doing stand-up poetry.
Yes.
Why do you not pursue that a bit more?
I've thought about it. It came about, I can't remember how it came about, but I got in contact through social media with a poet who knew a few other poets, and they were having this night on at Affleck's Palace in that cafe.
Oh, the little theatre
in
the
little
back.
theatre at the back,
yeah. I know.
And they said you've got 3-minute
slots.
And the things I'm writing are quite short anyway, so I just went up there and rattled them out, and I wasn't nervous because I felt it's something I'm supposed to do.
Would you do it again if you was asked?
Yeah, absolutely.
Any promoters out there, this lad's for you.
I need to write more poems.
Well,
but I can, and I will.
Now the next one you're going to do for us,
this is my favourite.
It's a homage, isn't it?
It's a complete homage to John Cooper Clarke.
Hire Car Baby.
To his poem, Hire Car Baby. But it's really a love letter to him, and it's like him, intentionally. Yeah. I'm not trying to be him.
No.
I just love the man.
A homage to the man.
His T-shirt's there, signed.
Who got you that?
You did.
Right. The next poem, give us an intro.
Well, the next poem's called The 67 Bus, and if you're from Salford, you've probably no doubt travelled on the 67 bus, so this might hit home to you a little bit. Let's hope so.
Can I just say before you start, Mike Duff, this will hit home with you. Mike's a poet, and he's also had a terrible experience on the 67 bus.
Has he?
He has.
So no doubt this is dedicated to Mike Duff.
Yeah.
Splash, rattle, bounce, it's late, through puddles and rain at quite a rate. Jump on it in any state, it's the 67 bus, baby. Stuck again at traffic lights, I'll just take in all the sights. Arguments turn into fights, it's the 67 bus, baby. As we idle behind an articulated lorry, I ponder, I think, I rarely worry, but it's well past 9, I should fucking hurry. It's the 67 bus, baby. Condensation on the window, pain on the seats, that's not a pattern, that's a stain. The school kids scream and my ears are in pain. It's the 67 bus, baby. Through raindrops racing down the glass, I see children running late for class. What did she just say behind me? Don't ask. It's the 67 bus, baby. I didn't catch every word that was said between the two single mothers still dressed for bed. If I see that slag again, she's dead. It's the 67 bus, baby. Chatting to pensioners on their way into town. I'm a drowning rat who's wearing a frown. The racist on his mobile's a fucking clown. It's the 67 bus, baby. Down the stairs and off the bus. Stupidity and ignorance. I've had enough. People trying to get on the bus before I get off. It's the 67 bus, baby. Thank you.
It's brilliant, that, Steve. It really is. I've seen you doing that on a clip somewhere, but that's great. Can we just say it's been really nice speaking to you? I've been meaning to... We do stop and chat, don't we?
We do stop and chat, yeah. Well, you're a lovely fella.
Oh, yeah, right. I just wish Jo would have been here. I know she's very shy.
Oh, you wouldn't have got Jo on the camera
know,
under any circumstances.
But
it's quite ironic, since my brain injury, I seem to crave the spotlight, wanting to be on television with Carl Pilkington, wanting to be a stand-up comic or a poet or whatever. But Jo's the antithesis of that. If there's a spotlight, she's nowhere near it.
Well, I'd just like to say finally, it's enriched my life meeting the pair of you, because I just love the way that you both look after each other and love each other. Yeah. And the love's so obvious between you. So
terrific.
Keep loving her and keep doing this. And anybody who's out there who's interested in Stephen and his poetry, give him a gig. I'll vouch for him.
If there's any agents out there,
we'll come down.
I want a 3-book deal with Penguin.
Can't guarantee you that, but anyone out there, there's your man.
And a TV show with Carl Pilkington.
Anything else? Cuddly toy?
No, that's it for now. That's it for now. Oh, I want to record an album with cover versions. Proper cover versions, or like the Smiths and Joy Division, or The Wedding Present, or Radiohead. You know, covers like... Listen, if Nick Knowles can do it, I'm doing it. I'll get Johnny Marr to produce it.
There we go, then. On that note, we'll see you soon. Stephen, say goodbye.
Thank you, goodbye.
Cheers for having us. Bye.